At 72, Sharon Osbourne's sad farewell leaves fans in tears. The autumn rain fell softly against the windows of Welder's house, the Grade 2 listed Buckinghamshire mansion that had been home to Sharon and Ozzy Osbourne for over 2 decades. At 72, Sharon Osbourne sat in the silence of what had once been their shared sanctuary, surrounded by the memories of a love story that had captivated the world for 43 years. Just 3 months had passed since Ozzy's death on July 22, 2025, and the woman who had been the driving force behind one of rock's greatest careers was preparing to say her own farewell, not just to the music industry that had defined her life, but to the public persona she had maintained for over half a century. The decision hadn't come suddenly. Even before Ozzy's passing, Sharon had spoken to Billboard about her exhaustion with the relentless demands of the entertainment industry. "I've been doing this since I was 15, and I'm done," she had said in what would become one of her final, major interviews. "We just want to live our life and do what we want to do and not have to follow an itinerary anymore." Those words, spoken in the context of Ozzy's farewell concert, had taken on a profound new meaning in the wake of his death. Now, as she prepared to make her final public statement, Sharon reflected on the extraordinary journey that had brought her to this moment. From a teenager working in her father Don Arden's notoriously tough music management company to becoming one of the most powerful women in rock and roll, her life had been inextricably linked with the rise and evolution of heavy metal music. But more than anything, it had been defined by her unwavering devotion to the man she had fallen in love with when she was just 18 years old. If this emotional story is touching your heart as much as it touched ours, please consider leaving a like to support more coverage of these deeply personal moments. Your engagement helps us honor these important farewells with the respect they deserve. The announcement came on a grey November morning, delivered through a handwritten letter that Sharon posted to her social media accounts, a medium she had rarely used since Ozzy's death. The letter, written in her distinctive handwriting on personal stationery, began simply, "My dearest friends, fans, and family in the music world. After 57 years in this industry, first alongside my father, then as Ozzy's manager, and finally, as someone who tried to carve out her own space in television and media, I am writing to tell you that my time in the public eye has come to an end. This isn't a decision made in grief, though grief has certainly shaped it. This is a decision made in love. Love for the memories I want to protect, love for the life I want to live quietly, and love for the man whose legacy I will spend my remaining years nurturing away from cameras and interviews and the constant demands of public scrutiny." The letter continued with a vulnerability that few had seen from Sharon, despite her decades in the spotlight. "You have watched me through the highest highs and the lowest lows. You've seen me fight for Ozzy's career when the industry wrote him off. You've seen me battle my own demons and mistakes in full view of the public. You've witnessed our family's struggles and triumphs, our arguments and reconciliations, our love story played out across television screens and magazine covers. But what you haven't seen, what I've carefully protected for over 4 decades, is the private Sharon, the woman who existed only in quiet moments with the man I loved, more than life itself. That woman deserves her final chapters to be lived in peace, away from the noise and judgment and constant analysis that comes with public life." The news sent shockwaves through the entertainment industry. Sharon Osbourne had been more than just a music manager or television personality. She had been a pioneering figure who had broken barriers and challenged conventions throughout her career. Her management of Ozzy's solo career had redefined what it meant to be an artist's representative, while her frank discussions of addiction, mental health, and family dysfunction had helped normalize conversations about topics that had previously been taboo in the entertainment world. Industry colleagues immediately began sharing their memories and tributes. Simon Cowell, who had worked with Sharon on multiple television projects, said in a statement, "Sharon has been one of the most authentic voices in an industry full of manufactured personalities. Her honesty, her toughness, and her unwavering loyalty to those she loves have been an inspiration to everyone who has had the privilege of working with her." The letter revealed details about Sharon's state of mind in the months since Ozzy's death that painted a picture of a woman struggling with profound loss while trying to maintain dignity in the face of overwhelming grief. People have asked me how I'm doing, and I've given the expected answers about taking things one day at a time and being grateful for the support, she wrote. But the truth is that I feel like I'm living in a world where half of me is missing, Ozzy. And I weren't just husband and wife. We were creative partners, best friends, and yes, sometimes worst enemies. We were two halves of something larger than either of us could have been alone. Without him, the music industry feels like a foreign country where I no longer speak the language. The letter addressed the practical implications of her decision as well. Sharon announced that she would be stepping down from all professional commitments, including her roles on various television shows and her involvement in music management. She would retain oversight of Ozzy's estate and legacy, but would be delegating day-to-day operations to a team of trusted professionals. I will not be giving interviews about this decision, she wrote. I will not be making television appearances to explain my choice or defend my need for privacy. This letter is my final public statement, and I ask that you respect my family's need to grieve and heal away from the spotlight that has defined our lives for so long. The announcement sparked an outpouring of support from fans around the world. Social media was flooded with messages expressing gratitude for Sharon's decades of dedication to Ozzy's career and her willingness to share her own struggles with addiction, weight loss, and family challenges. Many fans shared stories of how Sharon's openness about her own battles had helped them through difficult times in their own lives. Music journalist John Wiederhorn, who had covered the Osbourne family for decades, wrote, Sharon Osbourne's departure from public life marks the end of an era in rock and roll. She wasn't just Ozzy's manager, she was the architect of modern artist management. The woman who proved that behind every great artist could be an equally great business mind. Her influence on the music industry cannot be overstated. The letter also revealed Sharon's plans for her remaining years, offering a glimpse into the quieter life she envisioned for herself. I want to tend to the gardens at our home in England, she wrote. I want to learn to bake bread and grow vegetables, as I told Ozzy I would. I want to write letters to our grandchildren and be present for family moments without cameras documenting every smile and tear. Most importantly, I want to create a private space where Ozzy's memory can live and breathe without being dissected by strangers. I want to be able to miss him without having to explain my grief to reporters. I want to celebrate his legacy without having to perform my mourning for public consumption. The decision to step away from public life wasn't entirely unexpected to those who knew Sharon well. Friends and family members had noticed her increasing exhaustion with the demands of celebrity life, particularly in the years leading up to Ozzy's death. The stress of managing his declining health while maintaining their public commitments had taken a visible toll on her physical and emotional well-being. Dr. Susan Chen, a therapist who specializes in grief counseling for public figures, explained the challenges that Sharon was facing. When you've lived your entire adult life in the public eye, the idea of private grief can feel almost impossible. Every emotion, every decision, every moment of weakness becomes potential content for public consumption. For someone who has experienced such a profound loss, the need to protect that grief and process it away from public scrutiny is not just understandable, it's necessary for healing. The timing of Sharon's announcement coincided with what would have been her and Ozzy's 44th wedding anniversary, a detail that wasn't lost on longtime fans of the couple. Their love story had been one of rock and roll's great romances, despite its challenges and complications. From their early days when Sharon helped rescue Ozzy's career after his dismissal from Black Sabbath, through decades of addiction, recovery, health scares, and family dramas, their relationship had endured as a testament to the power of love and commitment. The letter included a particularly poignant reflection on their final years together. People often ask what kept us together through all the difficulties. The answer is simple. We understood each other completely. We both came from dysfunction, we both struggled with our demons, and we both found in each other a kind of acceptance that neither of us had experienced before. In these last years, as Ozzy's health declined, I watched the strongest man I've ever known face his own mortality, with grace and humor. He never complained about what he was losing, his ability to walk, to perform, to be the dynamic presence that fans had loved for decades. Instead, he focused on what he still had: our love, our children, his music, and the incredible journey we had shared. The letter revealed that Sharon had been quietly making preparations for her withdrawal from public life for several months before Ozzy's death. She had been gradually reducing her commitments and delegating responsibilities, sensing that major changes were coming regardless of the specific circumstances. "I think part of me knew that our time together was limited," she wrote. "Not in any psychic sense, but in the way that you understand when someone you love is fighting battles that they might not win. I wanted to be present for every moment we had left, not distracted by business calls and media obligations." The announcement also included Sharon's thoughts on the current state of the entertainment industry and her concerns about the direction it was heading. "The industry I entered as a teenager was brutal in its own ways, but there was a certain honesty to the brutality," she wrote. "Now everything is filtered through social media and public relations machines. Authenticity has become a marketing strategy rather than a way of being. I don't want to become a caricature of myself, performing grief for clicks and likes. I don't want Ozzy's memory to be commodified or our love story to be reduced to content for reality television. Some things are too sacred for public consumption, and the last chapters of my life with my husband are among them." The reaction from the music industry was immediate and emotional. Artists who had worked with Sharon and Ozzy over the decades shared their memories and expressed their gratitude for her contributions to their careers. Metallica's James Hetfield said, "Sharon was always straight with us, even when we didn't want to hear the truth. She taught us that loyalty and honesty were more valuable than any amount of money or fame." Alice Cooper, who had worked with Sharon on various projects over the years, offered his perspective. "Sharon never just managed careers, she built legacies. What she did for Ozzy, and for rock and roll in general, will be felt for generations. Her decision to step away with dignity shows the same class and intelligence that made her so successful in the first place." The letter also addressed the future of Ozzy's legacy and Sharon's role in protecting it. "I will spend my remaining years ensuring that Ozzy's music and message continue to reach the people who need them," she wrote. "But I will do this work privately through foundations and charitable efforts that honor his commitment to helping others who struggle with addiction and mental health challenges. The Ozzy Osbourne Foundation will continue its work supporting young musicians and funding research into Parkinson's disease and other neurological conditions. But my involvement will be behind the scenes, where I can focus on the work itself rather than the publicity around it." The announcement included details about Sharon's plans to relocate permanently to England, a move that she and Ozzy had been planning before his death. "We had decided to come home to England, to the house, where we were truly happy," she wrote. Ozzy wanted to spend his final years in the countryside, where he could see the seasons change and feel connected to the earth that had given him so much. "I will honor that dream by making our English home my permanent residence. I will learn to find peace in the gardens we planned together and comfort in the rooms where we shared our quietest moments." The letter concluded with a message that brought tears to the eyes of fans around the world. "I want to thank everyone who has been part of this incredible journey. You welcomed a tough girl from Birmingham into your hearts and gave her the chance to build something beautiful alongside the man she loved. You supported us through our mistakes and celebrated our triumphs. You made us feel like part of a global family that transcended music and celebrity. But now, it's time for me to step back and let the music speak for itself. Ozzy's legacy doesn't need me to promote it. It lives in every young musician who picks up a guitar, every person who finds strength in vulnerability, every fan who knows that it's okay to be different. I am not disappearing forever. I am simply choosing to live the rest of my life as Sharon Osbourne, the private citizen, rather than Sharon Osbourne, the public figure. I hope you can understand and respect that choice. Thank you for 57 years of the most incredible adventure any woman could ask for. Thank you for loving Ozzy as much as I did. And thank you for giving me the privilege of being your voice in an industry that didn't always want to hear what we had to say. With all my love and gratitude, Sharon. The letter was signed with a simple flourish, accompanied by a black and white photograph of Sharon and Ozzy from their early days together, young, hopeful, and ready to take on the world. Within hours of the announcement, "Thank You, Sharon" was trending on social media platforms around the world. Fans shared their favorite memories of Sharon's television appearances, her frank discussions about family life, and her unwavering support of Ozzy throughout his career. Many expressed understanding and support for her decision to step away from public life. The British press, which had often been critical of Sharon during her career, was notably respectful in their coverage of her announcement. The Guardian wrote, "Sharon Osbourne's decision to leave public life represents the end of an era in British entertainment. Love her or loathe her, no one could question her authenticity or her dedication to her family and her husband's career." The Daily Mail, despite their history of sensational coverage of the Osbourne family, published a thoughtful piece about Sharon's contributions to breaking down stigmas around addiction and mental health. Sharon Osbourne made it acceptable to talk about dysfunction, to admit mistakes, and to show that even celebrities struggle with real problems, the article noted. International media coverage was equally respectful. Rolling Stone published a comprehensive piece about Sharon's impact on the music industry, noting that she had redefined what it meant to be an artist manager and proved that women could be just as tough and successful as their male counterparts in the notoriously difficult world of rock and roll. The announcement also prompted reflection on the changing nature of celebrity and privacy in the digital age. Entertainment journalists noted that Sharon's decision to step away completely was increasingly rare in an era when many public figures struggle to find the balance between maintaining relevance and protecting their personal lives. Dr. Jennifer Martinez, who studies celebrity culture and media psychology, offered her perspective. Sharon Osbourne's decision represents a kind of wisdom that we don't often see in public figures. She understands that there are some experiences, grief, loss, the final chapters of a great love story, that deserve to be lived privately without the pressure to perform or explain for public consumption. As the weeks passed following Sharon's announcement, the entertainment industry began to grapple with the reality of her absence. Television producers who had counted on her frank commentary and business acumen found themselves looking for replacements who could match her combination of industry knowledge and unfiltered honesty. Music executives who had worked with Sharon over the decades reflected on her unique approach to artist management. Unlike many managers who focus primarily on financial success, Sharon had always prioritized her artists' long-term well-being and artistic integrity. Tommy Mottola, former head of Sony Music Entertainment, said, "Sharon understood that managing an artist meant managing a human being, not just a career. She fought for Ozzy not just as a performer, but as a person who deserved respect and support through his struggles." The impact of Sharon's withdrawal extended beyond the entertainment industry. Mental health advocates noted that her openness about her own struggles with depression and anxiety had helped normalize conversations about mental health, particularly among older adults who had grown up in eras when such discussions were taboo. The National Alliance on Mental Illness released a statement thanking Sharon for her contributions to mental health awareness. Sharon Osbourne's willingness to discuss her own mental health challenges, as well as her family's struggles with addiction, helped millions of people feel less alone in their own battles. Her advocacy will continue to have an impact long after her departure from public life. As winter approached, Sharon began the process of settling into her new life away from the spotlight. Friends who visited her at the Buckinghamshire estate reported that she seemed more at peace than she had in years, despite her ongoing grief. "She's creating a life that honors Ozzy's memory while allowing herself to heal," said one close friend, who requested anonymity. "She's gardening, she's reading, she's writing letters to family and friends. She's rediscovering who Sharon Osbourne is when she's not performing for the public." The friend also noted that Sharon had been spending time organizing Ozzy's personal effects and working on projects to preserve his legacy. She's been going through decades of recordings, photographs, and personal memorabilia. It's both painful and healing for her. She's creating a comprehensive archive that will ensure Ozzy's story is told completely and accurately. As Christmas approached, Sharon made one final public gesture that moved fans around the world. She posted a simple photograph on social media, the last post she would ever make on her public accounts. The image showed 2 cups of tea on a garden table with the caption, "One for me, one for the memories. Thank you for understanding. S." The post received millions of likes and comments from fans expressing their love and support. Many shared their own stories of loss and gratitude for Sharon's example of how to grieve with dignity. The photograph seemed to capture everything that Sharon had been trying to express in her farewell letter. It was simple, intimate, and deeply human. It showed a woman who had spent decades in the spotlight finally claiming the privacy she needed to process the greatest loss of her life. As 2025 drew to a close, the entertainment industry and fans around the world began to understand the full significance of Sharon Osbourne's decision to step away from public life. Her farewell represented more than just the retirement of a successful manager and television personality. It was the end of an era in rock and roll history. Sharon had been there at the beginning of the heavy metal movement, helping to shape and guide one of its most important figures. She had witnessed and participated in the evolution of the music industry, the rise of reality television, and the changing landscape of celebrity culture. But perhaps most importantly, she had shown that it was possible to be both tough and vulnerable, successful and authentic, public and private. Her decision to end her career on her own terms, with dignity and grace, served as a final lesson to an industry that often struggles with the concept of knowing when to step away. The last official communication from Sharon came through her longtime publicist, who released a brief statement in early 2026. Mrs. Osbourne wishes to thank everyone for respecting her privacy during this transition. She is well, she is at peace, and she is grateful for the love and support she has received. She asks that fans continue to celebrate Ozzy's music and message, as that is the greatest tribute they can offer to both of them. The statement concluded, Sharon's greatest achievement was not her success in the entertainment industry, but her 43-year partnership with the man she loved. That love story will continue to inspire people long after the cameras have stopped rolling and the interviews have ended. And with that, Sharon Osbourne, the tough girl from Birmingham who had helped change the face of rock and roll, quietly closed the door on her public life and began the private journey of living with the memories of the greatest love story rock and roll had ever known. Her farewell had indeed left fans in tears, but they were tears of understanding, gratitude, and respect for a woman who had given everything to the music she loved and the man she cherished. In stepping away, she had shown them that sometimes the greatest act of love is knowing when to let go, and that the most powerful farewell is the one that leaves the music playing long after the performer has left the stage. If Sharon Osbourne's graceful farewell has moved you as much as it has moved millions around the world, please share this story and leave a like. Her decision to step away with dignity reminds us all that some chapters of life are meant to be lived privately, and that true love stories continue even after the final curtain falls.